Using class tracking lets you track and report on additional information about your business. You can use class tracking to track the profitability of business units, departments, product lines, or any other meaningful segment in your business. To get started, you must enable the class tracking feature. Click the gear icon, and then click Account and Settings. Click Advanced, scroll down to Categories, and click to edit. Turn classes on by sliding to the on position. QuickBooks has a couple of features that will help you remember about class tracking. First, warn me when a transaction isn't assigned a class. It's important to class every transaction in QuickBooks that will display on your income statement. So this is a good idea to select this, and QuickBooks will help you remember to class each transaction. Assigning classes can be done by one to the entire transaction or one class to each row in a transaction. You can make the selection that works for your business. Click Save to enable classes. Click Done. Now that classes are enabled, you can add new classes by going to the gear icon and under All Lists, click Classes. We already have 3 classes set up. Let's set up one more. We'll click New. We simply give it a name. We're going to divide our landscape business by commercial, industrial, and residential customers. Let's give it one more. We'll add municipal. Enter the name and then click Save. QuickBooks now adds that class. Now we have 4 different classes that we can add to transactions. We can add classes to all our profit and loss transactions, including sales, like invoices and sales receipt, and expenses, including expenses, checks, bills, etc. We can get started with class tracking by adding the class to all of our sales and expense transactions. Let's start with an invoice. Click New, and then click Invoice. Complete the invoice as usual. Enter your invoice date, and then enter our product or service. Finally, we'll add our class. In the header portion of the window, you see our class. We'll click the drop-down, and we'll choose Residential. This will now record the invoice as usual, but we'll add an extra tag or class to the transaction, and now we can report on this transaction as part of the class reports. That's all that's required when adding a class. Click Save and Close. To record classes on expenses, click the New menu, and then click Expense. We can enter an expense as usual. And finally, at the end of the line, we can add our class. And that class is that transaction. And now we click Save and Close. Remember to save classes on all sales and expense transactions, and QuickBooks will provide you with a profit and loss by class report. To review the profit and loss by class, go to Reports. Under Business Overview, click Profit and Loss by Class. And here we see our profit and loss by class report. For this year, we see each of our classes including commercial, industrial, and residential across the top, with all of our income and expenses associated with that classes. Finally, our last column is not specified. This is when we forget to add classes to our transactions. We can address this by clicking one of these numbers and simply changing the class on the transaction. In this example, we'll click the drop down and we'll choose a class, and then we'll click Save and Close. When we go back to our report, now we have one less not specified transaction. Always remember to class each profit and loss transaction, including all sales and all expenses, and your profit and loss by class report will be accurate and will not include any not specified transactions.